This is a blueprint as to how you double the profit for any business. It all starts with having strategies in place. So you have to map out what your strategy is, and that will be based on your personal goals. And part of the strategy, a very important part of the strategy, will be to systemize your business. And many businesses which rely on the owner to run them, they're not sufficiently systemized. And the systemization is fundamental to all the other aspects. So the other aspects of doubling your profit are operations. Now, can you make your operations more efficient? Well, yes, you can if you systemize how things are done. So systemizing operations will make a difference to your gross margin. Similarly, your teams, if you've mapped out your organization structure and role definitions for each role within the organization structure, and if you've systemized how those roles are undertaking, what those tasks involved, and the systems are written out, then you can get people to be trained up to undertake those roles quite easily. You don't have to recruit ready-made experts. You can train them up yourselves because you've mapped out the system, you've mapped out what the roles involve. So that will improve your gross margin as well. Now, these two things here, which would both improve your gross margin, I'm not going to even take them into the equation when I look at how you can double your profit. So those would actually make an even more of an improvement. The other important bits are you need to understand your finances and your numbers, and I'll come back to that. But again, if you systemize how you follow prospects through on what's called the buyer's journey, if you systemize having conversion funnels, you can increase your number of customers, your lead conversion rates, and that will make a big difference to your numbers. And also, if you systemize how you communicate with customers and clients on a regular basis, then you can increase the number of times they buy from you and how much they'll spend each time. And that will make a huge difference. And obviously, systemizing your sales and marketing. Now, I've put here one of the important things, one of the most important things about systemizing your sales and marketing is understanding this concept of the buyer's journey. Now, what this says is that, first of all, you've got suspects out here who aren't prospects at all. But once they become prospects here, for every 100 prospects who could buy what you offer, 30 will drop out and not buy, but 70% of them will buy at some stage. However, 67% of them are what known as future buyers, but only 3%, it's actually 1 to 3%, depending on the industry, are now buyers. Now, if you have systems in place, again, systems here, a drip campaign, a lead conversion funnel as well. If you have systems in place, you can nurture these prospects along the buyer's journey by repeated offering of information, not asking them to buy if they're not ready to buy yet, but providing them with information to nurture them along the buyer's journey with you. And then when they become leads, so it's this stage here is where they become leads, because now that they're the 3% who are ready to buy. Again, if you have proper systems in place, your conversion rate will go up because you'll be able to turn more of these leads into actual customers or clients with you. So working on having systems in place to follow the prospects along the buyer's journey will also make a big difference to your business. Now, the sort of difference these strategies can have in place is, let's look at the numbers. If you started off with 100 customers spending 1,000 each, buying from you once a year on average, and a gross margin of 60%, so you make a profit of 60% on everything you sell, whether it's an hour's worth or a course worth of service, or whether it's a product or a good of some sort, that will give you a 60% gross margin. But now you've got overheads to come off, so that's things like wages, salaries. So this starting place here, the numbers would be that you've got 100 customers spending 1,000, so your turnover is 100,000. But your net profit would only be 20,000 after you take account of your gross margin of 60 and your overheads of 40,000. What you could do by making 10% improvements in those key numbers through operating these improvements here through systemization, if you could get more customers, say you got your number of customers up by 10%. Well, if you're nurturing prospects along the buyer's journey, and if you've got a better conversion funnel in place, then you're likely to get more customers. So that's very doable. So let's have 10% more customers. If we're communicating with them more effectively, and if we have things like upsells, cross-sells, and also we're offering advice programs if we're an accountant, then we could get them to spend more with us. So we'll get the average amount they spend each time they deal with us up by only 10%. That's not very big. So up from 1,000 to 1,100. And also, if we're communicating with them more regularly, regular offers, etc., we'll get the frequency they buy from us up, again, only by 10%. So on average now, we've got customers and clients who deal with us 1.1 times a year on average rather than once a year. The difference that makes, all of those will increase your gross margin automatically because you're now charging a higher price on average. So your gross margin will go up to 64%, rounded up a bit, but that's more or less the number. Your overheads won't change, but your net profit will more than double. It will go from 20,000 to 45,000. And this gross margin improvement here doesn't even take account of the fact that your operations have become more efficient and that the way your teams operate has also become more efficient. So those changes there will make an even bigger difference on the gross margin. So mapping out an advice program for your clients, if you're an accountant, as to how they can double their profits, it's quite a straightforward exercise. But if you want to discuss it further, then please get in contact and I'll give you some ideas. Failing that, thank you very much for watching, and my website is bernardkeeby.com, and if you've got any comments to make or any questions to ask or any observations, please feel free to get in touch. I hope you found that interesting and useful. Thanks very much for watching.